Hey, I'm Jessica, and welcome to Reality Check. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode where I check off your list with season 2 of Love Island Games, episodes 6 and 7. Wow, we have a shocking elimination that had happened this episode. I am truly shocked. For all of the recaps that I've done so far, I have been saying that Chris is number one in terms of just like, he's a professional athlete. He's almost 7 feet tall. Like, he's ginormous. Like, he is the one to beat. I mean, put him up against Johnny. Johnny's going to take it, I guess. Wow, I am truly really shocked about this elimination. That I really did not see that coming. I didn't. Like, I know Johnny is super strong, and clearly, you know, he has a very fit body. He's very fit. So clearly, you know, they were going to give each other run for their money, but wow, I just didn't expect it. But man, we have a lot to get to. We had the heart rate challenge. I love a good heart rate challenge. However, I didn't love this one. Typically, I'm so entertained by them. This one, not so much. I thought this was very different because it's Love Island game, so they, you know, treated it like a game. We have 2 new bombshells that entered the villa. We have an ex that entered the villa, so that was exciting. And of course, we have the shocking elimination. So let's get into episode 6. And this really started off with, obviously, Nicola. I feel so bad for Nicola in this episode and in episode 7. She is really just going through it, and I just feel bad because she truly seems just like the most gentle soul and just like the most kind-hearted person, and she is just honestly going through it. Her best friend in the house, Solen, left the villa, and I thought what was really nice was that Chris went to go check up on her and was like, hey, like, are you okay? I just want to check up on you, make sure that you're doing okay. You know, Solen, you know, obviously is your best friend in the villa. How are you doing? And I thought that was actually probably one of the nicest things that we've seen Chris do. I thought that was really nice of him because just the fact that he checked up on her, you know, he went out of his way to do it. And I don't necessarily know if Chris had any intentions of trying to see how things worked out with Nicola. Like, he kind of talked about it here and there. He kind of, you know, gave her a little bit of an in here and there. But I don't know if his truest intentions, I mean, I think we all know his truest intentions, right? Like, his truest intentions was to win the money, and like the love aspect came way after that. But he kind of kept talking, you know, I do, you know, maybe potentially want to see things play out with Nicola, or like actually just get to know her more. So I don't know. Him going out of his way though to check up on her, I thought was a really nice gesture, regardless of he looked at it romantically or not. But her reaction after he left the room when he checked up on her, she was so excited, and it was just so cute, right? Like, like I said, she's just been going through it, and I just think it was a really nice moment. And I think, honestly, that really gave her some confidence, the confidence that she needed to head into the next day. Because I just felt like there was a different vibe to Nicola the next day. Not that like she never looks good. I think she always looks great and is a beautiful girl. But there was just something about her. I don't know if it was her demeanor. I don't know what it was. She was rocking like a bandana. Her makeup was really nicely done. Like, there was just something different about her that next day. And I feel like it really was just about having kind of like, not even validation, but like just a confidence booster, because this whole time, no one has really taken a liking to her or like wanted to get to know her. She's been friend zoned literally by everyone. So, I mean, you know, what sucks is that Chris is no longer here, and like the one maybe potential person that wanted to get to know her or maybe wanted to explore things with each other is no longer here. Again, now we just need an Italian man to come in for her because she just deserves all of the love. But there is this French guy. It's not like he's shown any sort of, you know, interest in her at all, but I also just feel like he hasn't really had a lot of screen time. So we'll see. Then we get into Johnny and Andrea. She's crying again. Honestly, I said in the last episode, I'll say it again, she's really annoying me. She's crying a lot. They basically just solidified their relationship, both, I would say, romantically and in the game. It's not like she's hiding the fact that she's making out with Johnny, not hiding the fact that she's kind of all in on him from Tyreek or whatever. She's definitely all in, and it seems like he is all in on her. And he does tell Tyreek, though, and this is where it can get a little bit messy, obviously, is like, he tells Tyreek, like, I don't have the best chance to win this game with Andrea unless I physically carry her to the end. And I think, you know, with these duels, they're not going to be like couple duels. They're an individual basis. So in order for you to like stay in your couple and like with the person that you want to win with, it's not just a matter of winning and winning every duel together. You actually have to win them individually. So that's an interesting aspect too, where it's like, had Johnny had lost his duel, then Andrea would have been out on her own and then obviously partnered with someone else. But Andrea didn't have the opportunity to duel, only Johnny did. And it could have very well been vice versa, right? Like, I mean, they weren't going to throw Andrea in the duel because she's not physically that strong enough. But let's just say, hypothetically, if they thrown her into the duel but not Johnny, it's like, had she had gone, then Johnny would be vulnerable, or not vulnerable, but like single on his own, and he'd have to be partnered up with someone else. So I do find that interesting because it's like, yes, you have to be a strong couple, but you also have to be strong individually, and kind of like it adds on that accountability factor where it's like, you can't necessarily rely on your partner to take you to the end, right? Like, you have to perform in these challenges individually and together. So I do really like that aspect, that you can't rely on your couple to string you along to the end. If you are in a duel, if you are in some sort of challenge and you have to do it on your own, you have to win. And you can't just rely on someone to win and to help you win. So I really like that aspect about this show, surprisingly enough, because I do think these challenges are kind of ridiculous, but I actually think these duels are kind of entertaining, I do have to say. Especially when the guys go, because the guys, you have to really just see them like dig deep and put their all into it. I mean, obviously the girls are too, but the guys really, I think, take it to the next level, and it is really, really entertaining to watch. So in this episode, I was shocked. I was completely shocked to see, and to hear that Justine and Josh had a little moment underneath the covers that evening. We kind of saw something happening when they showed them, you know, they were supposed to be sleeping, but they weren't, and clearly they were making out, right? Like, something more was happening underneath the covers, but it wasn't necessarily confirmed until they confirmed it the next day of like, oh, what actually happened. I was shocked. I mean, they both came in being like, we're brother, we're sister, like, we've had this relationship, this friendly relationship for so long, like, there's literally absolutely nothing there between us whatsoever. And so obviously all of us are gonna be like, okay, cool, like, they don't necessarily want to pursue anything with each other, they've been friends for so long. But then they were like, oh, it was kind of felt like one of those surprising things of like, well, maybe why not, why don't we give it a try? Fascinating, honestly fascinating. And I'm not mad at it, like, I'm not mad at them partnering up. But then it goes kind of back to like what they were saying in the previous episode of like, because they know that they're friends, right? Like, and nothing more. I mean, in the previous episode, that's what they were saying. They can really just focus on the game and just focus on winning, and like kind of have these relationships outside of their relationship, like their friendship. And it's the less mess way of getting to the end, right? Because you have your competitive couple, but then you have your like kind of couple on the side, your partner on the side that you're romantically interested in. But now it's like they're dabbling in kind of like a messy territory, because they thought that they were friends. Now they're exploring a connection between them, but then also they're exploring other connections. Now I feel like they've gone in like the stickiest of situations that I'm very curious to see them navigate through this, because I, for one, did not think that they were going to try or make any sort of like romantic relationship between them to work at all or explore it, because literally the first things out of their mouth was like, oh my God, we're friends. We have never looked at each other like that, whatever. But it's like Justine says, when you're sharing a bed with a guy and, you know, it looks like they're in like a single bed, maximum a twin. You're close, you're cuddling, things happen, and I'm not mad at it. What I thought was fascinating though was when Andrea told Josh that her and Toby kissed, he never told Andrea at that moment that him and Justine had kissed. And I mean, that could have been the perfect opportunity to do it, right? Like, yes, Josh came clean later on in that day, but I found it was a little bit awkward that he had to react to her kissing. I mean, that's why he took it so well. Like, Andrea was like, oh, he took it really well. Like, that conversation went really well. Lo and behold, him and Justine had kissed the night before. I felt like that was a perfect opportunity for him to be like, oh, okay, by the way, this is hot off the press. This just happened between Justine and I, so we're even. They did have that conversation later on in the day, and he did tell her, but I was kind of like, why wait? He wanted to, I guess, talk to Justine. Maybe it was because he wanted to talk to Justine and be like, hey, what happened between us? How do you feel? I mean, they did, right? Like, she was like, how do you feel? He was like, how do you feel? And both of them were like, oh, I was actually pleasantly surprised. So maybe he wanted to just really wait to talk to Justine first, to be like, if both of them were like, no, this is not going to happen, he can kind of relay that back to Andrea to be like, we both kind of debriefed and we're just like, yeah, this is not for us. But lo and behold, I think they're going to explore. So I think they're all getting kind of in like messy territory, like I said, but hey, that's going to make it even more interesting and even more entertaining for us. So I guess bring on the mess. Garby and Kendall, I never thought I would be saying this, but I am team Garby and Kendall. Not that they're my favorite couple by any means, but I do think they are really cute together. And I actually think Kendall is into Garby. At first I was like, oh, he could probably tell that she'll be liked by the public. She just seems like such a nice girl. So maybe he's just going to partner up with her to kind of just, know that he's in like good standing with America if it ever comes to a vote. But my gosh, I am actually really liking them together. I'm pleasantly surprised. I think they're super cute. I'm not necessarily getting the ick from Kendall that I was getting from him in the first episode. It's because I went into the season with like these preconceived notions of Kendall that he has always given me the ick back from his season 6 and then on Beyond the Villa. I see him in a different light now, and I'm kind of here for it. I'm not going to lie. I think they have really good conversations. They have deep conversations too. Like, they ask each other really, I would say, good questions that I don't see anyone asking each other. Not, maybe they're just not showing it, but they actually ask questions that have substance, like it's not just about what's your favorite food for breakfast. It's actually about, I think Garby said something of like, what's something in your life that really shaped you, and like or situation in your life that really changed you. Those are amazing questions. I actually really like them. So we'll see. I feel like they're sitting pretty in the house. They're kind of, I would say, middle-ish. Actually not. Maybe they're not middle of the pack anymore because they did pretty well in the last challenge. And now with Chris gone, I feel like Garby is one of the strongest girls. I don't think Kendall is, but I don't know. I think they balance each other out really nicely. And we'll see what happens between the two. I am very pleasantly surprised how I feel about them and Kendall in particular. I've taken a real liking to them as a pair. I think Garby is one of my top girls. I think she's fantastic. I love her, and I'm excited to kind of see, the opportunities that come out of the show for her, because I think she's really great and just good TV. Just seems like a really good person. So we get into the heart rate challenge, and typically I always love the heart rate challenge. I always just find it so entertaining. I love it. It's just so spicy. You see people get really into it, and usually it's like super sexy and people are going at it. We can't forget what happened in the last heart rate challenge. So I was excited for the heart rate challenge. I feel like we've never seen it necessarily this early. Obviously, as we know, this is an expedited show and it's not as long as a traditional Love Island, but it was really early on, I would say. It was set up pretty well for Sydney to come in. Isaiah was there, so it was kind of like the perfect opportunity. It sucks for Isaiah that he's in this like full-blown clown outfit when his ex just walks in looking so great. Can we just say how good Sydney looks? She, honestly, I think she looks really good. And, you know, I'll get into them afterwards because I have a lot of thoughts. Let's focus on the heart rate challenge first. So typically, like I said, I love it. But this one was very different because it's Love Island Games. So the whole, you know, aspect of who's going to get your heart rate up and whatever is like, oh my gosh, you really have to try very hard to not get your heart rate up because that the person that does could potentially win and you could potentially be sent home. Chris said it best, because of a lap dance, you know? So I think seeing how everyone was kind of engaged and participating in this challenge, I felt like it was just missing just the fun aspect of this challenge. Like everyone is always just so carefree and like really putting their all into it. I mean, people are still putting their all into it, but like people are typically reciprocating it. But here, I mean, some people inside, they're like, I was just trying to be like a starfish and not move and literally not do anything because I didn't want to, you know, get my heart rate up at all. And I honestly if we just think about this challenge in general, I think people's heart rates get up because of nerves, because it is kind of awkward and your heart is kind of racing. I also just think like if the first few people that start the challenge, I feel like a lot of people's nerves are up and their heart's kind of like pounding. So I feel like they already even have an advantage if you're going first because they need those nerves to kind of, you know, get out. But it was just very different from the typical heart rate challenges that we usually see on the show. I thought it was so funny when they found out about the heart rate challenge. Lucinda's like, yeah, a challenge I'm finally good at. I thought it was so funny. And, you know, Nicola was so happy. She was like, I'm going to shove my ass in everyone's face. And man, did she ever, which I guess is the reason why she got the win. Here's the thing too. It's like, was Isaiah and Nicola the sexiest couple? That like they did the sexiest moves and like they really kind of like worked their magic on everyone? No. And that's kind of goes back to my point of like, I just think people were genuinely so surprised and shocked of how Nicola was kind of navigating through this competition. And I feel like that just, you know, raised their heart rate, whether it was like through laughter or excitement or whatever it was. It wasn't because they were super turned on by Nicola and Isaiah. And it's just funny because that pairing, they're literally friend zoned. Like she has been friend zoned by him. They are friends and nothing else. So I thought that was really funny too. And also just proves the point of like, you don't need to be romantically involved in order to win these challenges, right? In order to like make it to the end. So I thought them winning and them getting, you know, the majority of people's heart rates up, I was shocked, to be honest with you. I was super shocked. I was very shocked who was in the bottom for the most part. But before we get into that, let's get into, I guess, some like key things that I want to point out for this heart rate challenge. Okay, Garby and Kendall, I was literally laughing out loud. And I think that's exactly the effect that you do not want to have on people when you are participating in the heart rate challenge. I was dying of laughter. I thought it was so hilarious. Kendall goes to Lucinda and he's like, ear infection, and starts like licking her ear. And then he goes to Antonia and he's like, broken tailbone, and like goes behind her. I was howling. I thought it was so funny. And someone said it best. They were like, Kendall just said F it to sex appeal. I'm just going to terrify you. And they're like, yep, check done. That's exactly what he did. I was literally dying. I don't think Kendall definitely did not get anyone's heart rates up. I didn't write that down. Like, I wasn't like, oh, you know, this person got this person's heart rate up. Like, at the end of the day, who cares, right? It's all about who kind of came in the bottom. But I literally thought that was the funniest performance out of them all because he just took the approach so differently. It was like, screw it. I don't care to be sexy. I'm just gonna, freak you all out. And that's exactly what he did. Tyreek and Lucinda literally just kissed everyone. And I feel like that was their strategy, I guess. Was it a good strategy? Maybe, because they weren't in the bottom, so I guess it kind of worked. But I thought it was so funny when Tyreek went straight for KK and Chris is sitting beside them and he's looking straight ahead and he's like, it's just a challenge. It's just a challenge. It's just a challenge. And all I'm sitting here thinking was like, yep, we've heard that before. We've heard that before. Don't you remember? That's literally what everyone was saying in last season. It's just a challenge. It's just a challenge. So I thought that was absolutely so funny. Just such a funny soundbite. Chris and KK, this is where you really saw the gameplay go, right? Like, this is where you really saw everyone was like, okay, we need to collectively not get excited. We need to be try to be stone-faced, because they know that they are a power couple. They already won the power couple status in the last episode. And, this is where, too, I feel like we've never seen this before. A lot of, especially the people that went in, like, the latter half of this challenge, they would bring, people or a person up front to the couch or to the bed, whatever that is, and then the horn would go off. First of all, I feel like I've never heard a horn go off in this challenge, not once. And second of all, why wouldn't they let that play out? So it's like, okay, did they have less time, or did they not use their time wisely? Because if you notice, the people that had the horn go off on them are the people that are in the bottom. And this is where we saw the horn go off, I think the first time, was when Chris literally brought 3 people to the couch, which I think is very important to know. He brought the 3 girls to the couch, and the horn goes off, and he wasn't able to kind of do anything there. No one was able to get excited or whatever. So it was like, was production trying to, make them not win and be in the bottom and kind of like manipulate that? So it was like, oh, he's about to go in on them. Beep, you don't have enough time left. Or was it like Chris just didn't use his time wisely and everyone had 2 minutes to go at it, and he was 2 minutes in and then time was up? I don't know, but I just thought that was really interesting, hearing that buzzer, because I don't think that's anything that we've ever heard before. So I don't know, but if it was him not using his time wisely, then, I mean, rightfully so that they were in the bottom, and then obviously that leads to them leaving, because it's like, you see all of these people choreographing this whole routine, and then it's like, you don't see any of them doing these moves when they get up to the front. So it's just like, why are you, like, if you're going to choreograph something, do it so that it actually, wins people over and wins kind of like the heart rate's going up. It's kind of like you're doing all these moves, you're practicing the moves, then you get there, and then you kind of, I guess you just black out. I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that, but like, I don't even know what just happened, I blacked out. So maybe that's what happens, and you're just not good at kind of navigating through the competition and like keeping track of time. But I mean, like he said, not having a great lap dance is the reason that he's gone. And I mean, it kind of is true, right? When Angelina and Johnny came in, I mean, I was like, okay, Johnny has done this before. He's done it multiple times. This is his challenge to lose. And he did, which I was really interested by. But again, like, if you kind of look at the people that were in the bottom, I feel like this is where people started to really play the game of like, we have to be stone-faced, we can't show emotion, we can't be into it, like, be as starfish as possible, don't engage kind of in anything. And I mean, I guess it worked, right? Because the people that they were openly saying that about are literally the people that are in the bottom. And you look at Johnny and Angelina, they're super hot, her ass is literally in someone's face, just shaking it, and they were in the bottom. So I mean, look, the people that obviously played the game correctly got their way, right? Because they got some really big competition into the bottom, which you probably wouldn't have been able to do if it was like some sort of physical challenge. So they played it right. I mean, for my entertainment, didn't love seeing the whole game aspect play into it, because selfishly, I just love a good heart rate challenge when it's like full throttle. That was not it this time, but I do understand it from a gameplay perspective. So like every other heart rate challenge, we have 2 bombshells that enter the villa. That shouldn't be a surprise to everyone. It happens every single season. The surprise, though, was that it was Isaiah's ex. Sydney comes in. Marvin comes in as well. He's from the France version of Love Island, so I don't know who he was. But, man, you know, you would think that it would explode. Like, the roof would pop off this villa with Sydney coming in because we know the backstory of her and Isaiah. He cheated on her. And I just thought that her entering the villa, there was going to be like fireworks and not a good way. Like I just thought it was going to be explosive and I thought there was going to be so much drama. But it seems like the 2 has really matured and they have, I guess, spent the year and a half that they haven't been together, like really just working on themselves because it seemed like a very civil meetup, you know, like they haven't talked since they've broken up. So, you know, if it ended on bad terms, it wasn't like it ended on good terms. He literally cheated on her. But it seems like I said, like they've both matured. They've spent enough time apart to kind of come together and it be civil. You would, you know, from a production aspect, from an entertainment aspect, you obviously want it to be explosive. But I am happy for them because if they're going to spend the time in the villa, you don't want it to be really awkward. You know, you want it to be somewhat enjoyable. So I don't know, actually. Like, Sydney kind of didn't really answer someone's question when they were like, oh, how do you feel about seeing Isaiah? She was like, yeah, we need to talk. Isaiah's kind of saying, and she even said, like, yeah, you know, not really want to explore that. But I don't know. I kind of got the sense that the doors opened, and especially because they're not on bad terms. I wouldn't be surprised if after a conversation, maybe they want to get to, you know, explore things again. But again, it's also like for Sydney, he cheated on her. That's really hard to, you know, explore something back up with someone that cheated on you. So if in my mind, do I think she should explore with him? No. Do I think maybe she will on the show? Maybe. I don't necessarily know if she will or not, but I do think just by kind of seeing their interaction and kind of the answers that they've given, it seems like the door is open. So I guess we'll see what happens in the next few episodes. We then find out that Nicola and Isaiah win. I mentioned this earlier. Shocking to me that they both won. But I don't know. I just think maybe people were really, I don't know, like just impressed or laughing or just felt very like excited to kind of see Nicola in a different light. I don't know what it was, but they ended up winning. I mean, Isaiah gave Andrea like a hickey. So they were going full out in this challenge. And then we find out who the bottom couples are in this challenge. And that was Andrea and Toby. Andrea just cannot catch a break whatsoever. KK and Chris. And Andrea and Johnny. And I mean, these are some stacked couples. Andrea has proven time and time again she is a tough competitor. She's strong. KK and Chris, I mean, I've been saying this whole time, they have been the ones to beat. And Andrea and Johnny, I mean, Johnny is one of the ones to beat too, you know? So I think they're tough competition, big names. And I think any one of these couples, or I guess any one of these individuals, aside from Toby, I would say, I think is a really big, I don't know if loss is the word, but it's a big name to leave the show. So let's get into episode 7. And I mean, for the most part, the episode was really about the duel. But before the duel, Nicola and Isaiah find out that they go into the hideaway. And I mean, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. But they have no romantic connection at all. So like, why were you really excited to go into the hideaway? Because what are you literally going to do with just you two in the hideaway? But they find out it was, you know, no shortage of just utter strategy and gameplay that needed to happen in that hideaway, because that's where they needed to decide which couples were going to duel, who they were going to put into the duel. And they basically make their decision. They just seem really torn up about it, especially Nicola. Like, Nicola, I feel so bad for her. Like, she was like, I don't want to make this. Like, it sucks. Like, finally, I feel, you know, like I belong, and I feel like these people have kind of welcomed me with open arms. Like, not to say that they didn't, but she just feels like a sense of belonging, and that, you know, people are taking a liking to her, because she just felt like they haven't really accepted her. And now she has to, you know, make kind of matters worse for her and choose people to duel, and, you know, to basically send 2 people home. And I just feel bad because, you know, I keep saying she just seems like such a nice girl, has good intentions. And at one point, you know, in the end of the episode, she's like, I wish that was me going home, because I just feel so bad. And I felt really bad for her in this episode. But it's like, okay, it's the name of the game too, right? Like, it's $250K. No one said that it's going to be an easy road to make it to the end and, you know, win the money. So these are the decisions that you have to make. And I mean, listen, I think her and Isaiah made the right decision, regardless of the 4 people that they ended up choosing to go into the duel. And sorry, let me actually just say this. They didn't need to choose couples. It was actually individuals. So they chose Andrea and KK and Johnny and Chris. So they obviously, like, they didn't have to choose couples. It was individuals, which makes a lot of a difference, right? Because Andrea is a tough competitor, and it's like, I'm sure Toby is a tough competitor too, but he's not like top tier competition like Chris and like Johnny. And I think at the end of the day, even though like everyone was so shooken up by the fact that they put Chris and Johnny together, that was the right decision to make sure that one of them got sent packing. They're the biggest threats, and now they have gotten one of the biggest threats out. And I think, you know, the whole aftermath of everyone kind of finding out who they chose, I honestly did not love the energy and kind of the response from Chris and KK when they found out that they were going into the duel. It's like, what did you expect, right? Like, you're here to win $250K, and did you think you were never going to be nominated for a duel or sent into a duel? Did you think you were just gonna kind of scathe by? Like, you're not here to make friends, you know? It's going to be not easy to make it to the end. You need to win to make it to the end. Yes, strategize, but also win your way to the end and prove to other people that you are tough competition. Like, don't shy away from that. And like, their whole attitude and energy when they found out they were going into the duel, I just thought it was too much, and honestly borderline embarrassing, especially KK. And I truly do love KK. I have loved her since her season that she was on previously, but the way that she responded and the way that she kind of like treated Nicola when Nicola wanted to go talk to her and she was like, hey, can we chat? And KK was like, no. I hated that. I felt so bad for Nicola. And it's like, okay, it was very soon after that she found out. So, okay, she's upset. But like, she was then making comments of like, you know, you're not the victim and it was a power move. So sorry, I don't feel sorry for you. It's like, that was just way too much. And it was like, Nicola is so hurt, and your words and like you just constantly putting down and like telling Nicola that her decisions and the decision that she made is, you're just so upset with it. And like, you don't even want to talk to her and like give her kind of like that respect of saying to her, hey, like you had to put someone up. I'm not happy with what you did, but I understand because you see me as tough competition or whatever it is. Like, what did she expect? Did KK really think that she was going to put up Andrea, someone that literally is not going to win the game? No, like, they are here to play the game. So I really did not love their reaction. I thought it was honestly very uncalled for. And then also too, like, when Ariana asked KK, like, hey, like, how do you feel about facing one of your best friends or whatever in the duel? She's like, none of us have friends right now. Right now, none of us have friends. And I'm like, what? Like, it's too much. It's too much. I just thought it was very unnecessary and not warranted. And I was not here for it. And I keep saying this, I felt for Nicola. I did, because She felt just so terrible, and it's like you're making her feel even worse. She didn't feel good about her decision, but it was like, hey, you're playing a game. What did you think she was going to do? Just put someone in the duel that literally was going to not do anything and clearly was going to lose and then be sent home? Like, it just absolutely makes no sense. So the reaction was very unnecessary, and it's like, it's the point of the show. If you don't like it, sorry, So I thought this duel, I mean, it was like cool to watch, especially just seeing like the guys go at it and like the strength that like Johnny has and whatever. And I think Andrea is killing it. I think she is doing such a good job. She keeps winning time and time again. She's constantly put up in these, really sticky situations, and she's always getting out of them. I think she's doing a really good job. I think she's a really good partner to have, and she is pleasantly surprising me. I really like her. I went into this season having an open mind about her. I'm really liking her, and I think she is one of the top contenders for the women. So I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she won. Again, it sucks that KK lost, but at the end of the day, it's like, this is the nature of the game. And, Isaiah and Nicola had to do what they had to do, and they got some tough and top competition out, and I think that's not something it's something that they should be proud of, to be honest with you. It's like, okay, yeah, it sucks. You got these like two big names out, but it's like also you got two big names out. That's huge. Two big names, but also like two top contenders. And they should be happy about that and proud of their decision. Okay, so Johnny and Chris's duel. Let's talk about this because I have so many thoughts. So Johnny ends up winning the first duel, okay? And to be honest, at first I was kind of surprised because I feel like Chris was in his zone for quite a bit of time and was kind of chilling in his zone with Johnny in it, but like for a good like 15 seconds. But I don't know, I guess they were kind of like in and out, and like the ins and outs maybe outweighed them being in Chris's zone for that long period of time. So I was kind of surprised to hear that Johnny won, but I was like, oh, okay, cool. But then Chris says that he thinks he broke his finger. And I'm like, first of all, okay, so many thoughts. If you're competing for $250,000, would you really say that you think you broke your finger? Like, wouldn't you kind of want to go maybe around, the medic or whatever and be like, oh my gosh, ow, my finger, but I don't want to say anything, in the risk of me actually breaking my finger and them saying, oh, you can't compete anymore and I advise that you can't participate. I truly was shocked when he mentioned his finger. I was like, wait, what? Like, you're actually telling us that you have an injury? Why not wait? Like, I don't know. Like, there's so many things that he could have done. At least just try. And I think this, honestly, to me, was a product of Chris having his ego kicked to the sidelines because he lost to Johnny. Johnny, who is physically a lot shorter than him. He looks very strong, Johnny, but he is a shorter guy than him. And so I honestly just think it was Chris's ego talking of like, oh my gosh, I lost once. I don't think that I can beat him again. So I'm just going to make up this injury of like, oops, my finger, so that I don't have to, participate again. And I don't know. I was truly shocked. I mean, it's hard because then the medic comes in and the medic's like, yeah, we advise you. But it's also like Chris could have faked it and be like, ow, my finger, my finger. That finger did not look broken, okay? I've seen a broken bone. If something is broken, it's literally like in the opposite direction that it should not be. His finger looked totally fine. It did not look broken at all. And it's like, you're telling me that even like you wanted to win this money so bad. He was the first person to say, I'm only here for the games. I don't want to make any sort of connection. I don't care about that at all. Try with one hand, try doing something. And then it's like, I don't know. The show is going to maybe have to figure something out. Like, why couldn't they maybe do a tiebreaker? Like, oh, you have to do this with one hand or something. I don't know, because what if going forward, someone else says, oops, I injured myself, but that person is the one that won the round. So after the first round, they're like, oops, I injured myself. And then if they kind of do the same situation, the same scenario of like, oh, by statistics, you won the first round, so now you win and you move on. How is that going to fly? So they're going to need to iron this out very, very soon, because if other people, and especially if someone that wins is like, oops, I injured myself, I don't think I can participate in the next round, and then Ariana's going to conveniently be like, oh, okay, I guess we have to hold and stop the competition, and you won this round, so you get to move on, and oh, bye-bye, your competitor. That can't fly. So, I don't know. To me, it was very convenient for Chris to kind of blame it on something. It just seems very on brand for Chris. It does. It does. To fake some sort of injury. I wasn't expecting it. And you know what? If that's what you're going to do, I'm not sorry to see you go. I'm not. It's like, you didn't even try. If your finger was hurting or whatever, use your other hand. Do something. It's $250,000. Or you know what? I guess you didn't need the money that bad because you didn't try hard enough to win. Sorry. His finger did not look broken whatsoever. It just didn't. Needless to say, though, this is a really game-changing elimination. It truly is, right? Like, I've been saying this whole time, KK and Chris are definitely one of the top 3 couples. They won in the last episode. Like, they have been on top consistently. And I just honestly thought that people didn't want to maybe bring Chris into a duel because they knew that they would lose, right? But then you have a situation like this where you have Chris and Johnny, and it's kind of a win-win. If Chris goes, it's a win for the house. If Johnny goes, it's a win for the house, except for Andrea. She was absolutely bawling her eyes out and was going to throw up at the fact of Johnny leaving. I'm like, okay, you need to relax. Like, again, this is where it all comes back to her just being annoying. And that is, exhibit B. Because it was just exhibit B of the episode. Let's, not negate that. There's been many other instances. But yeah, I think this was such a good move for Isaiah and Nicola. And, I'm curious to see who comes into the villa for Nicola, because I think she really just deserves a shot at love. And I hope, because she did win something, I hope production is like, okay, let's reward her and we'll bring in a guy that will be into her and she'll also be into as well. So I thought these were 2 really good episodes. Again, game-changing elimination that have just completely changed, in my opinion, the trajectory of this show. So I'm excited to see, what's in store in the next few episodes. So I will be back before you know it to recap episodes 8 and 9 probably. So look out for that. That'll do it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please rate, subscribe, review, do all of the things. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at yourrealitycheck.pod. And I cannot wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye.